Okay, so the mantle has diverse functions in different groups. There's numerous adaptations of the mantle, and this allows for diverse functions other than secreting shells. So that's one of the things it does, is secrete the shell. The other functions that you can see are, for example, in terrestrial snails, the mantle forms an internal lung. In bivalves, the mantle is lined with muscle and forms tubes called siphons. In cephalopods, the mantle forms siphons that function in jet propulsion. So here you can see a squid using the mantle for locomotion. So it takes in the water through the mantle, through the openings at the front of the mantle, okay? And then the mantle contracts and it forces the water out through the siphon here, also known as the funnel. And that propels the squid forward. The next group we're going to look at is ecdysozoans. So these animals grow intermittently by molting, okay, which is the shedding of the cuticle or hard exoskeleton. So if you remember from lab, the technical term for molting is called ecdysis. So once the animal molts, fluid causes the body to expand and the new larger cuticle or exoskeleton forms. Ecdysozoans undergo a succession of molts as they grow, and sometimes these morphological transformations uh, can be dramatic. The cuticle and exoskeleton of ecdysozoans protect the animals from predators, and they're also effective structures for muscle attachment. So during molting, the animal's soft body can be exposed, and this makes it very vulnerable. And then you have a hormone called ecdysosome that's important in regulation of the molting cycle. Okay, so here you can see the difference between the lophotrochozoans and how they grow incrementally. Okay, and then you can see contrast with the ecdysozoans and how they grow by molting. Here you can see like a cycad molting its exoskeleton. Species in the phylum Nematoda are called the roundworms or nematodes. So these are unsegmented worms with a pseudocoelom. They still have the tube within a tube body plan, but they have no appendages, okay? And they have an elastic cuticle that's molted during growth. Okay? But these animals lack specialized systems for exchanging gases and circulating nutrients. The roundworms, they play an important role in their ecosystem because they feed on a wide variety of materials like bacteria, fungi, small protists, detritus. Detritus, if you remember, is just decaying organic material. In most species of roundworms, the mouthparts are structured to increase efficiency of feeding on a particular type of material. So most roundworms are free living, but there are some species that parasitize other animals or even humans. Another group is called the tardigrada. So these are the water bears. And then the other group is called onychophora, which are the velvet worms. So these are of special interest due to their close relationship to arthropods, and they're very similar to arthropods because they do have segmented bodies and they also have segmented limbs. But unlike arthropods, the cuticle is not hardened as an exoskeleton, and their limbs are not jointed. So if you remember the, the word arthropods or arthropod means jointed foot, right? Arthro meaning jointed, and poda meaning foot. Tardigrades, these are microscopic animals. They're usually found in marine, freshwater, or terrestrial environments, such as a film of water that covers plants in moist habitats. So yeah, so these animals are very strange. Some of them can go up to like 10 years without eating. And then the other group, the onychophorans or velvet worms. These kind of look like caterpillars. Okay. They do have large antennae or long antennae, and these typically live in moist leaf litter and prey on small invertebrates. For arthropods, these are considered to be the most important phylum within Ecdysozoa based on the duration of the fossil record, species diversity, and abundance of individuals. Arthropods appear in the fossil record over 520 million years ago. They are the most abundant animals that are known, both aquatic and terrestrial environments. For example, there's about 1.2 million species of arthropods that are known. Arthropods are defined by three key features. There's the segmented body, okay, where it's organized into prominent regions called tagmata. So these are just fused fused segments. For example, the body of a grasshopper and other insects is divided into a head, thorax, and abdomen. Okay. But in other arthropods like spiders or crayfish, the body is divided into two tagmata. The cephalothorax, which is the fusion, it's just the fused head with the thorax, and the abdomen. Okay. The other key features of arthropods are the exoskeleton, which is mainly made of a polysaccharide chitin, and it's also strengthened by calcium carbonate and crustaceans. And then thirdly, the jointed appendages. So these allow arthropods to move very rapidly. Okay, and here you can see examples of those body plans. So for insects like grasshoppers, you do have a head, thorax. Okay, the thorax would be places where the the limbs attach to. So if the limbs are attached to a part of a body, it's going to be the thorax. So you have the head, thorax, and then the abdomen. And if you look closer, you can see those segmentations. For spiders, they only have two tagmata. They have the cephalothorax, so the head and the thorax combined, and the abdomen. So like mollusks, arthropods are compartmentalized and flexible in evolutionary terms. Studies of Hox genes and other toolkit genes show that small changes in timing and location of gene expression can result in new shapes and sizes. So gene expression and ecological opportunity or I should say, the variation of gene expression and ecological opportunity um, due to natural selection can result in diversification of body segments and appendages. Okay, so here you can see a crustacean like the crayfish. You can see the specializations of the segments in their body plan. So like the chelipeds, which are modified walking legs. Okay, these are mainly used for defense, or they could possibly use it for feeding as well. You have the antennae, or the antenna and the antennules. These are used for sensory. You have the maxillipeds, which are used for feeding or food handling, things like that. Um, the walking legs, obviously for walking. Then you have the swimmerets, which they can aid in swimming, but that's not their main function. Swimmerets, they mainly help circulate the water over the gills. Okay. And also for females, they can aid in like holding eggs. The main things that they use for swimming are the uropods, which you can see here. So they have one pair of uropods. Okay. All right, so we'll pause here and then we'll continue with the origin of the wing.